Join us now where we thankfully leave the daily political gasbaggery behind and close the show with something a bit more entertaining, insightful, and sure to cross partisan lines in speaking to a large share of the American audience. In what will hopefully force certain people to reconsider certain lifestyle choices, lest they become the individuals who one day find themselves staring up from their airline seat and wishing the cosmos would whisk them away to another corner of the universe when the flight attendant says, "You won't be making this trip even with the extra seatbelt extension, okay?" Magic and prestidigitation may indeed make everything from cars to careers disappear, but last time we checked, it could do nothing for the out-of-physical-shape land of excuses we have become, excuses that far too often reach into every facet of our lives. Our guest is more than a legendary entertainer and one half of an Emmy Award-winning combination of magic and awe. He is more honest with his opinions and comments on life outside of magic than anybody might have first conjured up. Author of the new book, Presto, How I Made Over 100 Pounds Disappear and Other Magical Tales. First half of the best damn magic show on the Las Vegas Strip. I've seen it. Penn and Teller. Pleasure to spend a few magical minutes with Penn Jillette. Ah, sir, you bring with us a little magic here.
Oh, my goodness, what an introduction.
When it comes to, well, that's what, you know something, and it only took me a few moments to work, but as I told you before we started this, I'm still trying to figure out exactly what you're saying to the magicians on Penn and Teller Fool Us, but I'm learning as we go along.
Yeah, well, that's the idea, you know, for people that want to watch Fool Us as just a magic show, they can do that. If people that want to learn a little bit more about it, they can do that too. I try to walk that line. It's a difficult line, but I do my best.
So this is an unconventional weight loss tale. I got to tell you, it really is, especially when I see a line say, let's talk about chocolate cake, which you don't usually see, and how much butter you want to eat after a workout. What is it that forced you to do this? Because it took you from the point where you realized that you were rationalizing smoking to deciding that it was time to have a potato.
Yeah, you know, I was wicked fat. I was, you don't weigh yourself at the heaviest, but I was probably at the very heaviest, 335, 340. And now as I sit here, I'm about 232. And I lost almost all of that weight in 3 months, a little closer to 4 for the beginning of it. And the way I did it was a friend of mine from NASA, Ray Cronise. I've been doing some studies with people, and eating is almost all habit. And you got to knock yourself out of a habit. So I went 2 weeks eating a mono diet. I chose to eat just potatoes. It could have been beans, it could have been anything, but I chose just potatoes for 2 weeks. But at the end of that time, I wasn't stuck in the habit of eating with people and what I was craving and so on. And then I just ate carefully and brought the weight down. It's now been 17 months, and I've kept all the weight off. So 2 years is the magic number.
How much better do you feel?
I've gone 17 months so far.
How much better do you feel?
I can't tell you how much better I feel. It's fabulous. I considered myself to be a happy person when I was at my fattest, but it turns out, looking back on it now, I just wasn't. Everything's easier, you know. Playing with my children is easier. Working is easier. Everything is simpler, just not eating all the time. And, you know, the book is written to be funny, to be entertaining, but it's all first-person singular. I'm talking about me because I'm not qualified. I mean, if you get medical advice from a Las Vegas magician, you're an idiot and you deserve to die. You've got to talk to doctors. You've got to do it that way. But I'm just talking about the inspiration. And one of the things I loved about it was making it hard, you know, making it a challenge and doing it really right.
Was your inspiration partly not to simply live longer and feel better, which in essence should be what we all should be doing?
Yeah, my motivation was not to die and to be happier. It seems like that's not a hard motivation to find. You know, I was in the hospital with wicked high blood pressure, and I was being told it was genetics and my ancestry and so on. I have some Native American blood and some African blood, and they thought maybe that's that. But it was also the fact that I was, you know, 110 pounds overweight. And they considered doing a stomach sleeve, and I said, wow, if they're considering doing an operation to stop me from swallowing enough, maybe I should try something pretty radical. So as I sit here right now, I eat no animal products, no refined grains, and very, very low salt, sugar, and oil. And now that I've gotten myself out of that, you know, like 3 months of eating really carefully, the cravings just go away. Now when I'm looking for food, I'm looking for blueberries instead of for a grilled cheese.
I think what you said in there, though, was very important, because what works for you doesn't always work for everybody else, because we're a society that always seeks that magic bullet. Here, let's find the one thing that works automatically. It works for everybody. It doesn't work for everybody. You tried something, you thought about it, but that's not what a lot of people do. They'll just dive right in, and that's why they give it up too easy, because they think everything works. One thing works for everybody.
It's not magic. It's not rocket science. It's food. You really have to think about it and have to make some decisions, and also decide that you're not going to be like everyone else. You know, it's funny, I never listened to the music everyone listened to. I never watched the movies everyone watched. I certainly didn't read the books everyone read, but I ate like everyone ate. And, you know, I don't have to eat pizza and hamburgers all the time. Although I will say, every couple of weeks, you know, when my children want to have a pizza and a little bit of ice cream, I'll have it with them, because no one meal makes you fat and no one meal makes you healthy. It's what you do chronically. Also, the one thing I learned that's really important is don't eat. I mean, if you go to a restaurant and the food on the menu is not exactly what you think is healthful for you, just don't eat. You can always skip a meal. You can always skip a day. We have plenty of fat on our bodies to get through a few days. There's no nutrient you need every single day.
Isn't it just fair to say that, I mean, some people say it's genetics. I go back to Eric Cartman on South Park, who goes, I'm not fat, I'm just big boned. It's the same kind of people.
Exactly.
And you said in the book, no, you're just fat. This is a nation that no matter what, whether it's eating, whether it's anything else, our own lives, we don't want to face the truth about anything, do we?
Well, you know, we're pretty good at that. I mean, I've always get a little bit weirded out when someone says, you know, Americans do this and this and this stupid. Americans do stuff really, really smart. And I think that one of the problems with the food thing is that for close to 1 billion years, the biggest problem every living thing had was getting enough calories. And now, thanks to brilliant people, mostly in the USA, we have a very few countries on Earth where the problem we have is too many calories. And really, give ourselves a break. It's pretty hard to learn that that's an entirely different thing. After billions of years of the things that lived or the things that ate the most, we now have this, what is it, 100 years maybe, when a small group of people finally have too much food. We should celebrate that, dance, and just make heroes into the people that made food production so good and got us all this food, and then say, but wait a minute, just because they accomplished this doesn't mean we have to eat every particle of food that happens to be on our continent.
I only got about 90 seconds left, and I promised myself that when I get a chance to talk to you, I had to ask you this one magical question. It doesn't make a difference. No matter what we see in front of us, we know that there's no black holes. We know that there's no magicians. We know that there's no psychics out there. We know it's not real when we're watching it. But the magician, like Penn and Teller, you guys do it so well that we believe it. What is it about that moment? We know it's not real, but it's done so well that we just believe maybe magic does exist. That's, to me, always the wonderful thing about when magic works.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
But what is it about that makes us want to believe it? We always believe it. I just thought it was
a fine compliment.
No, it was a fine compliment, but why is it that we believe it even though we know that there's no real magic?
I would argue that we don't really believe it. I don't think we ever think, even for a moment, when we see a human being sawn in half, that we've actually witnessed a murder. What we're seeing is, it's like looking at an optical illusion. We're enjoying playing with how we ascertain what truth is. I mean, magic is dealing with the most important issue you can deal with in your life, which is how do we ascertain truth. And deciding what's real and what's lies in a playful, comedic environment in the theater is a very healthy way to do it before you go into the political arena.
Wait, we could do another hour and a half on that, because if you're talking about cutting people in half, we could actually start bringing bodies into the studio here. This would not go well for both parties. Let me remind everybody once again, two things. First of all, Penn and Teller Fool Us on CW is one of the best shows on television. The book is a wonderful book.
Thanks.
It's so fun. It's a fun read for everybody. Presto, How I Made Over 100 Pounds Disappear and Other Magical Tales by Penn Jillette. Penn, continue. Penn and Teller continue to excite us for many, many years. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
All right. It's a fun book. Read it. Have fun. Lose a little weight in the process. It's not all that bad, all right? Rock on, true believers. See you tomorrow night. Good night and good luck.